Natasha Brooks stood in front of the mirror adjusting the emerald green dress that hugged her figure gracefully. The color brought out the warmth in her hazel eyes and complemented her olive skin beautifully. Tonight marked a special occasion, her 29th birthday combined with her first wedding anniversary to Victor Chen. She had spent 3 months planning this celebration at the Grand Pavilion, one of the most elegant venues in the city. Her fingers trembled slightly as she fastened the pearl earrings. A gift from her late grandmother who had raised her after her parents passed away in an accident when she was 12. The jewelry box sat open on her dresser, revealing a velvet case containing her anniversary gift for Victor. Inside rested a platinum pen engraved with his initials. Purchased with the money she had saved from selling her grandmother's antique furniture collection, memories of love, the decision to sell those precious pieces had torn at her heart. Each chair, table, and cabinet held memories of Sunday dinners, birthday celebrations, and quiet evenings spent with the woman who had been both mother and father to her. But Natasha convinced herself that Victor deserved something special. Their relationship had begun 2 years ago, when she was showcasing her fashion designs at a startup expo. Victor had approached her booth, genuinely interested in her sustainable clothing line. Their courtship had been swift and intense. Victor showered her with attention, took interest in her dreams, and promised to support her career ambitions. The wedding, though modest by his standards, had felt like a dream come true. For the first 6 months, life seemed perfect. Then everything changed when Victor's technology company secured a major investment deal. The pressure transformed him into someone she barely recognized. The first signs of trouble: late nights at the office became routine. Weekend getaways were canceled. Conversations grew shorter and colder. When Natasha tried to discuss her concerns, Victor dismissed them as unnecessary drama. He accused her of being needy and not understanding the demands of building a successful business. Still, Natasha held on to hope. She told herself that marriage required patience and understanding during difficult times. Tonight would change everything, she believed. The celebration would remind Victor of what they shared, of the love that brought them together. She had invited 80 guests, including his business partners, her fashion industry colleagues, and close friends. The menu featured dishes from their first date restaurant. The band knew all his favorite songs. Everything was arranged to perfection. Arrival at the Grand Pavilion. The car service dropped Natasha at the Grand Pavilion entrance. She walked through the marble foyer, her heels clicking against the polished floor. The ballroom looked magnificent under soft golden lighting. Round tables were draped in cream silk with centerpieces of white roses and candles. A jazz band played softly near the dance floor. Guests had already started arriving, mingling with champagne glasses in hand. Rachel Kim, her best friend since design school, rushed over with a bright smile. "The room looks amazing, Natasha. You outdid yourself." "Thank you," Natasha replied, scanning the entrance nervously. "Victor should be here any minute. He texted that he was leaving the office." Rachel's smile faltered slightly, but she squeezed Natasha's hand supportively. "This will be a wonderful evening. Just breathe." The unexpected arrival on hour passed. Guests kept glancing at the entrance, whispering among themselves. Natasha's phone buzzed with a message from Victor saying he was caught in traffic. She forced herself to smile and circulate among the guests, thanking them for coming. Her stomach churned with anxiety that she tried desperately to hide. Then the ballroom doors swung open. Victor entered, but something was immediately wrong. His suit jacket was unbuttoned, his tie loosened carelessly. His eyes held a strange brightness that Natasha recognized as alcohol. Behind him walked a woman Natasha had never seen before. Tall and elegant in a black dress, her hand resting possessively on Victor's arm. The room fell silent as they walked in. Natasha froze, her heart hammering against her ribs. The public humiliation begins. Victor spotted Natasha and strode toward her with the woman still attached to his side. "Happy anniversary, darling," he said loudly, his words slightly slurred. "I brought a guest. Hope you don't mind. This is Catherine Lang, my business partner and the woman I actually love." The gasps from the crowd were audible. Natasha felt the room spinning. Her vision blurred at the edges as she struggled to process what was happening. "Victor, what are you doing?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Doing what I should have done months ago," he replied coldly. "I'm tired of pretending. Tired of this farce of a marriage. You were convenient when I needed someone presentable for social events. But Catherine and I have real chemistry, real partnership." Natasha's legs felt weak. She reached for a nearby chair to steady herself. "The envelope of destruction, Victor." Pulled an envelope from his jacket pocket and thrust it toward Natasha. "Divorce papers," he announced, to the entire ballroom. "All signed and ready. Consider this my anniversary gift to you. Freedom from a marriage that meant nothing." The envelope fell from Natasha's trembling hands onto the floor. Tears streamed down her face as she looked around at the shocked faces of friends, colleagues, and family members. "Did you really think a fancy party would fix us?" Victor continued mercilessly. "Did you think that expensive pen you bought would make me love you? I know you sold your grandmother's furniture for it." How pathetic. The mention of her grandmother's furniture, the sacrifice she had made out of love, broke something fundamental inside Natasha. A sob escaped her throat as she sank to her knees, the emerald dress pooling around her. The moment of devastation, the ballroom erupted in shocked whispers. Some guests hurried toward the exits, uncomfortable with witnessing such intimate cruelty. Others stood frozen, uncertain how to react. Rachel rushed to Natasha's side, wrapping protective arms around her shaking shoulders. Victor simply turned away, walking out with Catherine as if nothing significant had occurred. The jazz band had stopped playing. The beautiful celebration Natasha had crafted with such care transformed into the scene of her greatest humiliation. Through her tears, Natasha noticed a figure approaching. A tall man in an impeccably tailored charcoal suit knelt beside her, his presence calm and reassuring amidst the chaos. His dark eyes held genuine compassion as he offered her a clean handkerchief. "My name is Logan Hartley," he said gently. "I witnessed what just happened, and I want you to know that such cruelty says everything about him and nothing about your worth." Natasha looked up through blurred vision at the man kneeling beside her. Logan Hartley's face showed no pity, only understanding and quiet strength. His handkerchief was soft against her tear-stained cheeks. Around them, guests were beginning to leave, casting sympathetic glances in her direction. Rachel remained close, her hand on Natasha's shoulder. But it was Logan's steady presence that somehow anchored her in the moment. "You don't know me," Logan continued softly, "but I came tonight as a guest of your colleague Daniel Morrison. I've seen many things in my life, but never such calculated cruelty delivered so publicly." He paused, his jaw tightening with controlled anger. "What was done to you tonight was unforgivable." Natasha tried to speak, but her throat closed around the words. She clutched his handkerchief tighter, feeling the expensive fabric between her fingers. An unexpected offer Rachel helped Natasha to her feet. The emerald dress felt heavy now, no longer elegant but burdensome. Logan stood as well, maintaining a respectful distance. "I know this is overwhelming," he said, his voice gentle but clear, "but you shouldn't stay here. Let me take you somewhere quiet where you can collect yourself away from all these eyes." Rachel looked at Logan suspiciously. "Who exactly are you?" she asked protectively. Logan reached into his jacket and handed Rachel a business card. "Logan Hartley, founder of Hartley Enterprises. I own several businesses, including charitable foundations. I promise my only intention is to help your friend get through this terrible evening." Rachel studied the card, then glanced at Natasha. "It's your choice," she whispered. Natasha nodded weakly. "I just want to leave this place," she managed to say. The quiet Logan-esque driver brought them to a small cafe that was still open despite the late hour. The owner, an elderly woman named Mrs. Chen, greeted Logan warmly and quickly prepared a private corner booth for them. Rachel sat beside Natasha while Logan took the seat across from them. Hot chamomile tea arrived moments later. Natasha wrapped her hands around the warm cup, finding small comfort in its heat. "Thank you," she finally whispered. "I don't understand why you're helping me. You don't even know me." Logan leaned back in his seat, his expression thoughtful. 5 years ago, I went through something similar," he said quietly. "Not quite as public, but equally devastating. My former fiancée left me at the altar after discovering I had lost everything in a bad business deal. She said she loved me for who I was. But it turned out she loved what I had. Sharing past pain, the betrayal nearly destroyed me, Logan continued. I was broke, humiliated, and convinced I would never trust anyone again. But a stranger helped me that day. An older gentleman who owned a small restaurant gave me a job washing dishes when no one else would hire me. He taught me that kindness matters most when we have nothing to gain from it. Natasha listened, her tears gradually slowing. Rachel relaxed slightly, sensing Logan's sincerity. "So you rebuilt everything?" Rachel asked. Logan nodded. "It took 3 years of working multiple jobs, saving every penny, and taking calculated risks. I started small, buying struggling businesses and turning them around. Now I run 12 companies across different industries. But I never forgot that act of kindness. I try to pay it forward whenever possible." Natasha felt something shift inside her. This stranger understood her pain in a way others could not. The conversation deepens. Logan leaned forward, his dark eyes meeting Natasha's. "What happened tonight doesn't define you," he said firmly. "That man's cruelty reflects his character, not your value. You planned something beautiful from a place of love. That takes courage and heart. Those qualities will serve you far better than any relationship built on deception." His words penetrated the fog of humiliation surrounding Natasha. She took a sip of tea, feeling its warmth spread through her chest. "I sold my grandmother's furniture collection for that anniversary gift," she admitted, her voice breaking. "Everything she left me. Every piece held memories of the woman who raised me after my parents died. I thought it would show Victor how much I loved him. Now I realize he never deserved that sacrifice." Rachel squeezed her hand supportively. Logan's expression hardened with barely contained anger at Victor's behavior. "Proposal for tomorrow." Logan pulled out his phone and made several quick calls while Natasha composed herself. Within minutes, he had arranged for the ballroom to be cleared and all of Natasha's belongings to be collected and delivered to her apartment. He also contacted a lawyer friend to begin divorce proceedings immediately. "You shouldn't have to handle logistics right now," he explained. "Focus on taking care of yourself. Tomorrow, when you're ready, we can discuss next steps." "What next steps?" Natasha asked, confused. Logan smiled for the first time that evening. "I run a charitable foundation that supports women entrepreneurs," he explained. "We provide funding, mentorship, and resources for women starting or rebuilding businesses. I've seen your fashion designs, Natasha. Daniel showed me your portfolio months ago. You have real talent. Your sustainable clothing line could make a significant impact in the industry." Seeds of hope. Natasha felt a flutter of something she hadn't expected tonight. "Hope? You're offering me funding?" she asked cautiously. Logan shook his head. "I'm offering you partnership. My foundation would invest in your business, yes. But more than that, I would personally mentor you through the process of building something that belongs entirely to you. No strings attached. No expectations beyond your commitment to the work." Rachel looked between them, her protective instincts still alert but seeing genuine opportunity in Logan's offer. "Why would you do this for a stranger?" Natasha asked, her voice steadier now. "Because I believe in second chances," Logan replied simply. "Because talent shouldn't be wasted due to circumstances beyond our control. And because sometimes the universe puts us exactly where we need to be to help someone who needs it." His sincerity was unmistakable. Natasha felt tears returning, but this time they were different. Not tears of devastation, but of unexpected possibility. The first step forward as the cafe owner brought fresh tea and small pastries. Logan's assistant Owen Mitchell arrived with documents. Owen was a kind-faced man in his 40s who treated Natasha with gentle respect. "These are preliminary agreements for you to review," he explained, setting a folder on the table. "No pressure to sign anything tonight. Take your time. Read everything carefully. Consult with your own lawyer. We want you to feel completely comfortable with any decisions you make." Natasha looked at the folder, then at Logan. "This feels overwhelming," she admitted. "Everything changed so fast tonight. I went from celebrating my anniversary to being divorced to receiving a business opportunity. I don't know how to process it all." "That's completely normal," Logan assured her. Take things one step at a time. Tonight, go home and rest. Tomorrow, meet with the lawyer I contacted about your divorce. Next week, if you're interested, visit my office and we'll discuss your business plans. There's no rush. Building trust. Elle spoke up for the first time in a while. I'll be honest, she said directly to Logan. This all seems too good to be true. How do we know this isn't some elaborate scheme? Logan met her gaze steadily. You're a good friend for asking that question, he responded. Here's what I suggest. Research me thoroughly. Talk to other women my foundation has helped. Contact the Better Business Bureau. I encourage complete due diligence. Your skepticism is healthy and warranted. He stood, pulling out his wallet to pay for their tea. My driver will take you both home safely, he offered. Keep the business card. When you're ready, call the number and Owen will arrange a meeting. Until then, know that what happened tonight was not your fault. You deserve respect, kindness, and the chance to build a life that brings you joy. With that, Logan nodded respectfully and left the cafe. Rachel and Natasha sat in silence for a moment, processing the unexpected turn the evening had taken. The ride home in the back of Logan's car. Natasha stared out the window at the city lights blurring past. Rachel held her hand tightly. I can't believe any of this happened tonight, Natasha whispered. Which part? Rachel asked gently. The public humiliation or the millionaire offering to help rebuild your life? Both, Natasha replied with a weak laugh. The driver pulled up to Natasha's apartment building. Rachel helped her inside, staying the night to make sure she wasn't alone. As Natasha finally changed out of the emerald dress and washed her face, she caught sight of herself in the mirror. Her eyes were red and swollen, her expression exhausted, but somewhere beneath the pain, she saw something else emerging. A spark of determination, a whisper of strength. Logan's words echoed in her mind. This doesn't define you. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, legal battles, and emotional recovery. But tonight, in the wreckage of her old life, seeds of something new had been planted. Sunlight filtered through the curtains as Natasha woke to find Rachel already making breakfast in her small kitchen. The events of the previous night flooded back, bringing a wave of pain. But alongside the hurt was something unexpected, a quiet determination. Rachel brought her coffee and sat beside her on the couch. How are you feeling? She asked gently. Natasha took a long sip before answering. Broken but not destroyed, she said honestly. I keep thinking about what Logan said, that this doesn't define me. Rachel nodded approvingly. I stayed up researching him last night. Everything checks out. His foundation has helped over 200 women start businesses. The success rate is remarkable. He really does what he claims. Natasha felt her heart beat faster. So you think I should meet with him? Rachel smiled. I think you should take control of your own story. Victor tried to destroy you publicly. Show him and everyone else that you're stronger than his cruelty. Meeting at Hartley Enterprises 3 days later, Natasha walked into the gleaming glass building that housed Hartley Enterprises. Owen Mitchell greeted her warmly in the lobby and escorted her to the top floor. Logan's office was surprisingly understated for a millionaire, decorated with art from local artists and photographs of the women entrepreneurs his foundation had supported. Logan stood when she entered, his smile genuine and welcoming. Thank you for coming, he said, gesturing to a comfortable seating area. How are you managing? Better than I expected, Natasha replied, settling into a chair. My lawyer says the divorce should be straightforward since Victor already signed everything. Logan's expression darkened briefly. What he did was cruel, but at least it makes the legal process simpler. Now let's talk about your future. He opened a portfolio containing sketches and designs Natasha had created over the past 2 years. I had Owen collect these from your public showcases. Your sustainable fashion concept is brilliant. The market is ready for ethical luxury. Building the dream for the next 2 hours. They discussed business plans, production costs, marketing strategies, and timelines. Logan asked insightful questions that showed he understood both fashion and business. He challenged her ideas in ways that made them stronger. Natasha found herself relaxing, her passion for design overcoming her recent heartbreak. This is what I've always wanted, she admitted. To create clothing that's beautiful, but also responsible. To prove that fashion doesn't have to harm the environment or exploit workers. Logan leaned forward, his eyes bright with enthusiasm. Then let's make it happen. My foundation will provide initial funding of $200,000. We'll secure a studio space for you. Owen will help you build a team. In return, the foundation takes a small percentage until you're profitable. Then we step back completely. The business becomes fully yours. Natasha felt tears prick her eyes, but these were tears of gratitude. Why are you doing this for me? She whispered. Because I see in you what that stranger saw in me 5 years ago, Logan replied quietly. Someone worth believing in. The studio space 2 weeks later. Natasha stood in her new studio, a bright loft space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Sewing machines lined one wall. Fabric samples covered another. Design tables occupied the center. Rachel had helped her move in, along with 3 talented seamstresses Logan had recommended. This is really happening, Natasha breathed, running her hand over a bolt of organic cotton. Rachel hugged her tightly. You're doing it. Building something beautiful from the ruins. Logan visited frequently over the following months. Always professional, but increasingly friendly. He brought coffee during late work sessions. He introduced her to industry contacts. He celebrated small victories like her first completed sample collection. Natasha found herself looking forward to his visits, not just for the business guidance, but for his company. He made her laugh with stories of his early business failures. He listened when she needed to talk through design challenges. Slowly, carefully, her wounded heart began to heal. The charity gala 6 months after the disastrous anniversary party. Logan invited Natasha to a charity gala his foundation was hosting. It's time to debut your collection publicly, he suggested. We've invited fashion editors, buyers, and investors. This could launch your brand nationally. Natasha felt nervous excitement. Rachel helped her prepare, styling her hair and offering encouragement. You've got this, she said firmly. Your designs are incredible. Let them speak for themselves. The gala was held at the same Grand Pavilion where Victor had humiliated her. Natasha hesitated at the entrance, memories flooding back. Logan appeared beside her, offering his arm. I know this is difficult, he said softly. But you're not the same woman who was hurt here 6 months ago. You're stronger now. Walk in there with your head high. She took his arm gratefully, drawing strength from his steady presence. Together, they entered the ballroom, now transformed for the fashion showcase. The showcase success models walked the runway wearing Natasha's sustainable designs. Each piece told a story of ethical production and environmental responsibility without sacrificing beauty or style. The audience responded with enthusiastic applause. Fashion editors scribbled notes. Buyers approached with business cards. By evening's end, Natasha had secured orders worth over $500,000. She stood backstage, overwhelmed by the success, when Logan found her. You did it, he said, his pride evident. Your talent and hard work made this happen. Natasha turned to him, suddenly seeing him clearly, not just as a mentor or benefactor, but as the man who had believed in her when she couldn't believe in herself. Thank you, she whispered. For everything. For seeing me when I was broken, for giving me a chance to rebuild. Logan's expression softened. You rebuilt yourself, Natasha. I just provided tools. You had the strength all along. A new beginning as the gala ended. Logan asked if she wanted to walk in the garden outside the pavilion. The night air was cool and pleasant. Fairy lights twinkled in the trees. They walked in comfortable silence until Logan stopped beside a fountain. I need to tell you something, he said, his voice suddenly uncertain. Over these past months, my feelings have changed. You started as someone I wanted to help, but you've become someone I deeply admire and care about. Natasha's heart raced. Logan continued, his dark eyes intense. I don't want to complicate things or make you uncomfortable. I know you're still healing from what Victor did, but I couldn't let tonight end without being honest. You've become incredibly important to me. Not as a business investment, but as a person. as someone I want in my life beyond professional connections. Natasha felt warmth spread through her chest. For months, she had pushed away her growing feelings for Logan, convinced it was too soon. Too complicated, love reborn, but standing in the garden where she had once felt destroyed. She realized that healing didn't mean waiting for some arbitrary timeline. It meant being brave enough to trust again. "Logan," she said softly, stepping closer, "you saved me that night. Not with money or business opportunities, but with kindness when I needed it most. You've shown me what real partnership looks like, what genuine support feels like. I've been falling for you for months, but was afraid to admit it." Logan's face transformed with joy. He reached up gently, cupping her face in his hands. "May I kiss you?" he asked. Natasha answered by closing the distance between them. Their kiss was tender and full of promise, different from anything she had experienced before. Not desperate or performative, but real and honest. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. "This is just the beginning," Logan whispered. "For your business, for us, for everything ahead." Full circle. A year later, Natasha's fashion line had expanded to 3 stores nationwide. She stood in her flagship location, watching customers browse her sustainable designs. Rachel managed the marketing department. The seamstresses from her original studio had grown into a team of 20. Logan arrived with lunch, a routine they had developed. "How's business?" he asked, kissing her cheek. "Thriving," she replied, leaning into his embrace. Just like us, they had taken things slowly, building a relationship on friendship and mutual respect. No grand gestures or expensive gifts. Just genuine connection, honest communication, and shared dreams. Natasha's divorce from Victor had finalized quickly. He had married Catherine 2 months later, but Natasha felt no bitterness. That chapter of her life had closed, making room for something infinitely better. As she looked at Logan, at her successful business, at the life she had built from ruins, Natasha understood that sometimes the worst moments lead to the best transformations. Her grandmother's sacrifice hadn't been wasted. It had been an investment in herself, leading her to someone who valued her completely.